man, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm actually sad.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I was thinking, can I get you the money? You know, I'm Colombian. I have kind of a lot of sources for money.
If it was only that simple, and of course, you know, social media, the immediate leap that people make is that it's some sort of salary dispute, and that's what happened. Nothing to do with that at all. These are command decisions that are made. It's above my pay grade, right? I'm not a studio executive.
You know that the Twilight Zone after 5 years got shut down and it won 5 Emmys, right? It got shut down for like no reason.
Right. Well, and then you look at a show like Hill Street Blues, which wasn't even in its first season, was not in the top 30, and then it found an audience in its second season, went on to win multiple Emmys. It was one of the longest running shows. You just never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Look, I'm gonna start this petition. FabTV starting a petition to keep it going because it's like it should. There's no way this should stop. I feel dissed.
I'm right there with you. I you know, and there has been a petition. I know on Twitter, they've got something like 33,000 signatures of people that really they don't want the show to end.
When I heard about it, I was like, what's the reason? There's all these other shows that aren't even as good as yours, not even as good, and they're on for 2 more seasons, 3 more seasons. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you know, it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Half the time, nothing makes sense.
Like I said, I could get the money. Maybe I was actually really thinking about this on the way here. Can someone just buy it from Amazon and then bring it over somewhere else?
Well, that, you know, people have asked me that question, and there's rights issues, and there's a multitude of reasons that can't happen, right? It's not like they want to sell their tentpole show that really, you know, created the studio to one of their competitors. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So,
well, then keep it on. Then keep it going.
You know, from your mouth to God's ears,
yeah.
or to Amazon's ears, as the case may be.
So we're here for your mural, which is badass.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's surreal for me to stand and see my face several stories.
Right. You know, are they going to make posters of this? Like.
I think they are. Or they may have already. I know that some of the artwork has myself and Mimi Rogers and Madison Lintz. This one, I think, is sort of an exclusive piece, but I think they're going to do a kind of a limited run of that. But that's one I'd actually even hang in my house.
I would too. It's cool.
No, it's cool. And that was, unlike most of these things, these billboards they do that are decals, this was hand painted, like a paint by numbers painting.
Wow.
So it took some time to do that.
Is there going to be security here to protect it?
I hope so. If I have to do it, I will. I'll stand out here and say, don't graffiti on that.
Changing gears here, what's your best Lance Reddick memory?
My best Lance Reddick memory would be just working with him. I mean, we were friends for over 26 years, really close friends, like brothers. But just the way that we worked together, we had a lot of fun. Of course, we were very serious. We worked in a very similar way, so it was kind of seamless. But we just had a lot of fun. There was a tremendous amount of laughter, and just one of the kindest, most creative people that I've ever known.
Yeah.
And I miss him every day.
I know. He was the coolest dude, man.
He was everything that you know. I think it was a great misinterpretation that because of his kind of gravitas, his stature, and his physicality, people thought he was this kind of foreboding, intimidating character. He wasn't. He was sweet and effusively warm and deeply funny. Very good at comedy, which he didn't get many chances to flex that muscle.
Yeah.
He did a little bit on the Resident Evil show on Netflix. He got to play clones of himself, and one of them was a really goofy character.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to get to see him really be funny.
That's cool. One of my questions about the show is this: do the cases work, Harry? Like, did work you?
Yeah. I think they work Harry the way that he works them. There's a part of every case that he investigates that really kind of penetrates him and overtakes him because of the sort of, you know, obsessive, relentless way that he works. So that's one of the reasons that he has a difficult time maintaining relationships in the world, because when he's working, he's really myopic. Everything else just kind of is not there.
So if Bosch Legacy gets shut down, can we continue with you somehow on Ballard?
Yeah, in a capacity, but not. It's not. I won't be a series regular or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And that remains to be seen. But we introduced Maggie Q's character, Renee Ballard, in the 10th episode of Bosch, and she's great. She's fantastic. So I think that show is gonna our fan base will carry over certainly to that, because it's a loyal fan base, and she embodies that character really fully, and it's a really, really good show.
Cool. Last thing I'm going to say, cops love you, CIA love you.
I don't know. My interactions with law enforcement are all really, really positive. They all say how much they like the show because they think that it gets it right.
It's realistic.
That it's real. And even in kind of heightened circumstances that we find Bosch in, the procedural aspect and the way that the cops interact with each other and the way that the work is done is very real. So it's not, because that normally is a big turnoff. I know lots of cops.
Like, we wouldn't do that.
And they'll say, I can't, They go, that would never happen. No, even in any circumstance, a cop wouldn't do that, or they wouldn't handle it that way. So, and that's that always makes me feel good from the get-go, because I was like, good that we're doing that, and we've been very, very, it's a conscious effort to keep it there, and that's why we have great technical advisors like Mitzi Roberts, who Renee Ballard is based on, and Detective Tim Marsha, who's retired LAPD robbery homicide, and Rick Jackson, and they all have worked with Michael. He kind of consults them when he's writing the books to keep that stuff, right.
Right on. Okay. If you need the money, just call me up.
All right. We'll go to Bogota.
All right. Great talking to you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.